Oh boy, I am just, I'm just confused with this team. I apologize about my camera. I'm fixing that right now. I don't know why, but for some reason it always wants to not show up when I start stream. All right, Bulls lost again here to Sacramento Kings, which I thought this game was actually a winnable game. I wanted the Bulls to win this one because I thought that they could go 3-3 on the road trip, and anytime you have like an extended road trip like this one, the goal is always to go 500. Anything better than 500 is an absolute W, but it's always go 500. And then the Bulls had a chance to go 500 today on the road trip, and they ended up not going 500 on the road trip, which is not good overall. And so the Bulls are going to end up going 2-4 on this road trip, and it sucks because it's like if we just went 500 on the road trip, then and you get this one at least. Bulls go back home with some momentum. You basically you didn't necessarily get better or worse on the road trip, and so then you have some advantage at home, which I don't think the Bulls have actually played well at home, honestly, but. Yeah, just overall bad. I apologize. The stream is starting a little bit later than usual for post game. I don't know how long I could stream today for post game, but I'm gonna do my best here. I'm kind of dog sitting a little bit, so I apologize. But this one just hurts because I thought the Bulls had this one. I'm mostly looking at this second quarter right here. I'm not happy with the Bulls right now offensively, and it's crazy to say that because it's like we thought that the issue coming into the season was going to be the defense, and it's not the defense this season. It's been the offense this season. The Bulls have been a top 10 defense for a good amount of the season. They've been at least hovering between 13 to 10 for a good amount. Like, that's a respectable defense. It's not great, but it's still a good defense. The problem is that the Bulls offensive rating has just been so garbage this season, and I'm becoming more and more upset the longer I see that this Bulls offense is going to continue to have issues and they continue to have these games where they just go through scoring droughts. And we're seeing it here, man. Like this right here, we're 22nd in offensive rating. That's inexcusable. That needs to get better, and I'm really upset right now. Of why that it's not getting better. Just straight up livid to see that. Obviously, the big thing tonight is that Zach LaVine had a great game, which is obviously great to see. That, hey, look, Zach's still Zach. And I've been saying to people, like, it's just a matter of time. Give him some time to just kind of readjust. Again, he didn't play 5-on-5 in the offseason, so he's probably wasn't in 100% shape coming into preseason, which is totally fine because he's rehabbing from injury. Give him some games to get readjusted, and he's gonna be just fine. And tonight he goes up for 41 points. And somehow that still wasn't enough to get the Bulls offense to 110 points. They only scored 101, and it was because Zach made a layup at the end of the game when it didn't even matter. So basically, even when Zach went up for 41, the Bulls offense was basically at under 100 points. And this is the part where I'm just like, I can't continue to see this. And this is the reason why I'm really, really livid right now with this team. This isn't necessarily like the offensive woes is not just on one player. Okay, like I don't care, what you have to say. Like, yes, Zach has definitely sucked up until this game, or at least he's been playing below standards. But even in this one, when Zach goes off, right, the Bulls offense still has issues. So it's not Zach's fault that the Bulls offense sucks. It's the entire team's fault. And I'm going to pull up a tweet here that I tweeted out after this game that this is what I'm mostly looking at. And this is where I'm starting to get really upset. The Bulls offense, and I'm looking at everybody. I don't care if it's a star. I don't care if it's a role player. We're seeing too many people passing up open three-point looks, and I'm talking wide open three-point looks, and we're seeing guys start taking contested mid-range shots instead. And these guys, no matter who it is, star, role player, etc., you have to be better on offense. You have to be more confident on offense. Shoot the ball when you're open, okay? I don't care even if you're a bad shooter. You need to shoot the ball if you have an open shot. And we saw too many times in this game where other guys were just they're open, they get the ball and they're wide open and they decide to not shoot the ball. That doesn't make any sort of sense to me whatsoever. And this is the reason why the Bulls offense continued to struggle, because we have guys that are not playing within the offensive rhythm. And this is the part where it's really, really frustrating to watch. What's going on, Magugla and Unstoppable? Good to see you guys here. I appreciate you guys watching. This is definitely kind of shaping up to be a long season, as you're saying, Unstoppable. But again, we're not going to hit the tank button. So it's a matter of figuring this out on offense. And here's the thing: I don't think this is on Billy Donovan tonight. I think this was on the players more so than the coach. I think there's a couple of things that Billy Donovan I thought did wrong in this one, which was that he played that second unit in the second quarter a little bit too long. And especially Andre Drummond and Derrick Jones Jr. just can't play together, and we think we kind of knew that before this game. But he adjusted, so I got to give Donovan credit for adjusting, and then he didn't play Andre Drummond in that second half. But it's on the players to be better on offense. It just straight up is. There's no excuse at this point. The players just have to be better. Shoot the ball when you're open. Play confidently. Don't hesitate. You have to play better. And it's annoying to see that this Bulls offense continues to have issues throughout this entire season. Kings balling right now, though. Don't feel too bad. If the Bulls lost this game and the Bulls offense was, solid, I wouldn't be too upset. It's just that this game right here is that this is a consistent trend in this Bulls season where the offense just sucks. Where we're seeing the offense go through droughts, 4 to 5 minutes of not scoring a bucket, or we're seeing runs by the opposing team where it's like a 15-5 run, and it's because the Bulls offense can't put the ball in the basket. That's the reason why I'm upset about this one, because if the Bulls just didn't have that offensive drought in that second quarter, and also some other moments throughout the game, they win this one easily. 110 points given up, this should be a win. I don't care who it is. This 110 points, like, this is kind of where the Bulls are, like what the average of giving up this season defensively, which is good. They've been giving up around this many points for any opposing team. Doesn't matter who it is. This is a very winnable game if you just actually score on offense. And again, the offense has been the issue this season. It has not been the defense, really. I know that the Bulls went on that, whatever it was, 4 or 5 game losing streak or whatever. That the defense was the issue in that losing streak, but the offense has been an issue in the entire season. I have not really seen a good offensive game by the Bulls where it's like, oh my god, we exploded. Yeah. Thinking 2 things are going to happen. They're going to wait to see what this team looks like with a healthy Zoe, or they're going to trade DeMar come trade deadline. I think both of those are a very possible outcome. I would add a third thing to your list, unstoppable, which is that I think Nikola Vucevic is being traded. I don't know. We saw some whole thing today. It's someone from Fox Sports came out and said that Levine and DeRozan are untouchable, which he was also reported on the Miami Heat saying that Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are untouchable. I don't know how legit that reporter is personally, but the biggest thing to me is that he didn't list Nikola Vucevic in that untouchable category. So I think that's kind of a big hint at what could be coming. But the other thing is this. I think like this Bulls front office is seeing like, yes, we have offensive stars on this team, right? But they can't play together. They just straight up can't, and the only way to get better is sacrificing one of these guys just to get them not playing together. Because at the end of the day, they're not performing on the offensive end, which is what we expect them to do. The crazy thing is that they're actually kind of performing defensively, which is like, what? And I've been calling out DeRozan's defense for a good amount of the season, but like I feel like Levine and Vucevic, like there hasn't been that much of an issue for those 2 guys defensively. Yes, they have their moments, but like we're not seeing like an absolute disaster by those 2 guys on the defensive end. They're actually performing defensively. It's the offensive end where it's like we expect these guys to show up and play well together and be a big part of the offense, and yet these guys they're not performing on that end. And we're consistently seeing where it's like one of them goes off and then the other 2 kind of disappear. And we've been seeing it mostly with DeRozan this season where it's like he goes off and then the other 2 guys, they just kind of go away. And then when and tonight when Levine goes off, like Vucevic is like nowhere to be found. DeRozan has a rough game again. DeRozan's had a rough game in the past 3 games, so I don't know what's up with him. But it's like, hello? Like, I want answers. I don't know why, like, specifically when it comes to Vucevic and whoever the other guy is, like, whether it's DeRozan or Levine, I feel like Vucevic should be fine. Like, DeRozan and Levine, they play the same position. They're kind of similar players. I can understand if one's going off and the other doesn't, but I feel like Vucevic should be fine and be scoring at will. Whether DeRozan or Levine's going off, it shouldn't be that Vucevic is the one that isn't getting shots. And the thing is that specifically tonight, I thought Vucevic passed up a lot of open 3-point looks. I thought he passed up some potential paint opportunities, and I'm like, you need to score. You're here to score. You're not here to be a passer in the offense. You're not here to be a point center. You're here to score the ball. And he didn't do that tonight. I mean, 10 shots, yeah, you can argue, well, the Bulls didn't give him the ball enough. I can count in my head like three times where I'm like, he should have shot that 3-point shot. Like, he has to shoot threes in this offense. And I'm just confused why all of a sudden now we're seeing also him start giving up or passing up open 3-point looks. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And it's not good to see. Orange Crush, I appreciate you being here as a Kings fan and listening to a Bulls fan rant. But let's see what you guys say. It did seem they missed a lot of shots, but also Kings missed a lot of open threes. Kings could have been up by 25-30 in the first half, but expected second night back-to-back GG though. Yeah, and here's the thing, Orange Crush. So your Sacramento Kings team, they chuck up threes, right? And I like that they do that because it fits well in their offense. But I've been saying as a Bulls fan all season that what the Bulls have to do is that they have to protect the paint first. And I would much rather see a team, shoot a bunch of threes that are obviously contested, because if you're protecting the paint, but, the opposing team is shooting a 3-ball instead, that's a win. That means you're at least protecting the paint and not allowing them to get, high percentage layups inside. So what you're seeing here is 43 3-point attempts by the Kings. That's kind of the idea that I want to see, right? And in the end, you only make 30% of them. You shoot 46% on the game, which isn't amazing. You only score 110 points. And I'm like, hey, the Bulls did their job defensively. This Bulls offense should easily be scoring 115 points per game or more. But for some reason, they didn't do that. And that's been the whole thing of the season. But I want to say to you, I like how your Kings team is playing. I like how I really like how Mike Brown is taking this Kings team to the next step. And I think Fox is obviously playing overall pretty good. But the biggest thing to me that I saw tonight is that the role players seem to understood their role, right? And I think that's kind of something that when I watched the Kings before, which is very, very, very few times, it kind of seems like guys don't exactly know their role on the team. But it seems like Mike Brown has kind of done a good job and has figured out the pecking order and what guys should be doing, how to use guys correctly. Most notably, I love how Chimezie Metu has been playing, and he played well last season as well. So it's good to see these role players that I know can have an impact. They're starting to understand their role with the team, and the Kings did a good job tonight. Even if the three ball isn't falling, you're seeing that they were able to still score in other ways, and obviously 30 assists is also great to see. So GG to you. Yeah. No idea why Vucevic stopped shooting a 3. He was dead in the first half. Bulls playing too much ISO, in my opinion. Oh yeah, I mean, they're playing too much ISO, but here's the thing, Orange Crush, this Bulls offense, they're one of the top teams in the league in passes per possession. They're also one of the top teams in the league in passes per game. In the end, this Bulls team is passing the ball a ton, but you're seeing that it's getting nowhere, right? Because there are guys, most notably the role players, they're too scared to shoot the ball on this team. They're too scared to actually go look for their shot. And that leads to nowhere on offense because these other guys are not shooting the ball. And it ends up being that, okay, we just throw it to Levine, we throw it to DeRozan, it's okay, bail us out. And it's that's the only way we can score right now, is if at least one of them is going. And that's the problem with this team, is that we got too many guys out here that are too afraid to shoot. So the Bulls, they're passing the ball well. And I actually think that the ISO offense isn't necessarily, we saw it a lot in the fourth quarter, obviously, but most of the season, we haven't really seen an ISO heavy offense like last season. And all of a sudden, this Bulls offense has plummeted from being the 13th ranked offense to now the 22nd, which is the problem with this team. Yeah, you took away the ISO, but did it help? Doesn't look good, right? So maybe we need to actually go back to ISO, because that might be the only way that we can actually score consistently, which I don't want to do, by the way. I think that's a horrible idea, but clearly the rest of this, this team collectively does not score well when the ball is passing and the ball is being thrown around. So yeah. How do you feel about doing a trade with the Los Angeles Clippers, trying to get PG-13? I would love PG-13 here. I'm not why would the Clippers the only way PG-13 gets to the Bulls is if you trade Zach, and I'm not doing that trade. So yeah, I don't know how else PG-13 gets here. Billy Black Dom is the worst coach in the NBA. I disagree that he's the worst coach, but he's definitely not. He hasn't been well. I don't think he's performed well this season. I'm not very happy. Now, here's the thing I will say. I think Donovan has the right goal in mind to help this Bulls offense, which is okay, that's good. He has the right goal in mind, which is get away from the isolation, start making this offense a little bit more diverse. And instead, we're seeing that, yes, they got away from the isolation offense, and it's made the offense worse. So yeah, it makes it so confusing at the end of the day, and I hope the Bulls start figuring it out. But Donovan needs to start making better plays, because we're seeing too many times that the role players, that the ball's in their hand and they don't do anything with it. And it's a problem. I think our offense this year has got us to the point where we are hanging on to higher tier teams. What do you mean by that, Noel? Also good to see you again. Glad to see you here. All right, you guys talk it out for a second. Again, I said at the beginning of the stream I'm on dog sitting duty. I need to go get them because I hear them making some noise. Stay here. I'll be right back. Listen to the music. Talk it out about the Bulls' offensive struggles. I'll be right back with probably 2 dogs in my arms. All right, sorry about that. Like last year, we were getting destroyed by good teams. This year, seems like we're much closer. I guess, but still, our offensive rating is worse than last season, right? Like, this is the part that bothers me. It's like we're seeing this offensive rating, we plummeted. Okay. Last season for the Bulls on offense, okay? Offensive rating. Look, we were 13th in offensive rating last season, okay? 112.7. Why are we down here? And I know it's like, oh, 1 point difference, but like that ends up mattering at the end of the day. And also this season with the offense, like we're seeing like record-setting offensive rating, by the way, like throughout the league. Like the offensive ratings have been extremely high. And so with this Bulls team, like just kind of stagnating or at the very minimum getting worse, like it's gone down, right? So this is the part where it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? The offensive rating was heavily carried by DeRozan or DeMar's insane year. Yeah, definitely, but it's still in the end like the Bulls offense was just better last season. Like I think that's just the case, right? And so far this season, it has been worse. Like this is the part where it's like I'm so lost. I don't understand. Yeah, DeRozan had a phenomenal year last season, and like he was obviously a big part of the offense. But it's like, okay, we got away from the isolation, which in theory should help the offense get better, but instead we've seen that the offense gets worse. So we're passing the ball a lot. It's happening a ton. Like, but we're middle of the pack in assists, so clearly the passing isn't exactly, the best. And obviously, we're going to always continue talking about the three-point shot being an issue. But even last season, when the three-point shot was an issue, we were still 13th in offensive rating. So, yeah, it's just a mind-boggle situation right now for me, because I think that this Bulls team has actually done a decent enough job, or at least a good enough job on the defensive end, where I'm like, I can't sit here and complain. If this Bulls team can just get out of the bottom third in offensive rating, I think we're looking so much better. Like, it just in general. Yeah, I apologize if you see the dogs back there, and let me know if they're making a mess or something. There we go. That one just sat down. Yeah, I'm not happy about this loss. And again, it's most notably this quarter right here. Like this is the quarter where it's like I'm pissed to see this one, because the Bulls turned it over 11 times in this quarter. They came out of the second quarter and turned it over 3 straight times. That gave the Kings 5 straight fast break points, or points off turnovers, I should say. And that second unit that played from the end of the first quarter into the second quarter, they sucked. And this is, one of the changes by Donovan, which I think was actually wrong, which is that he switched DeRozan and Levine in the rotation, where this season it's been Levine has been coming out early and playing with the second unit, but he switched that, so now the DeRozan's now leading, part of that second unit, and I think that's been a mistake. And I was not happy to see that change, but either way, it doesn't matter who's in that second unit. They just gotta play better. They can't have offensive droughts like we saw at the beginning of the second quarter where they just could not score. The Kings ended, I believe, that first quarter into the second quarter like on a 15-5 run, and it's like that can't happen. That's an offensive drought that is just feeding the Sacramento Kings, a team that gets up and down the floor very quickly, points at the end of the day. You're just feeding them points, and that can't happen. Fast break point difference, obviously you're seeing this right here. Bulls won the points in the paint battle, but the biggest thing for me is like you limited Sacramento to 42 points in the paint. That's good. That's a very good job of limiting points in the paint. I would like to see this number closer to 50 for the Bulls, but you know, you won the paint battle. It's this right here, which is the big difference tonight, which is that the Bulls, their offense was so bad for a good amount of stretch that it just, you're feeding the Sacramento Kings points. And in today's NBA game, transition opportunities, like all the teams take advantage of it. I don't care who you are. We have the best athletes in the game right now. They're the fastest we've ever seen. They're the strongest we've ever seen, right? They're gonna score in transition, and the only way to stop that is if you score the bucket and force them to inbound the ball. Sometimes your offense could be your best defense, which is that it limits transition opportunities. So that's the part where it's like I'm upset to see that this Bulls team on offense can't figure it out. And there needs to be a serious change. Hopefully soon. I hope she didn't pee on my bed, but yeah. I think Kawhi or PG-13, one of them might get traded. Kawhi hasn't played a lot of games, and PG-13 is missing a lot too. Might try to move off one of their contracts. Then again, they might just keep both of them, and only time will tell. The thing is, Unstoppable, is that both of them just recently signed extensions, if I'm not mistaken. All right, hold on. Am I back? I just saw my stream just freeze, so I apologize. So Unstoppable, the issue for me is that both of them just recently signed extensions with the Clippers. So that's the reason why I don't think any of them are going to be getting traded. I think the Clippers, they're basically betting on Kawhi's health, where the thing is, it's a bad bet overall. But that team is set to win now. Obviously, they need their two stars there, and so far it doesn't look like they're going to be ever healthy, most notably Kawhi. But I just don't see the Clippers looking to move either of those guys after signing them to extensions very recently. So that's my opinion, but who knows? Maybe things change over there and they decide to go after another star instead, and maybe that's when they look to offload PG-13's contract. Perhaps the struggle is due to not having a true number one. There really isn't a person that you can rely on. You can look at all the top tier teams; they always have that type of player. Sure, but the Sacramento Kings team, I don't think they have a true number one on their roster either. No offense to them, but they're doing fine offensively, right? So I don't necessarily think it's specifically like, hey, you need to have a true number one to actually be an effective offense. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that you need to be running your offense effectively and calling the right plays for your team. And I don't think Billy Donovan has done a good enough job of making or drawing up plays that fit this team. It kind of seems like Donovan's kind of that coach where he just kind of lets things happen, right? He doesn't call a lot of plays, and he kind of lets the guys just kind of dictate the offense. Because what you kind of see a lot is like you see a lot of the same sets, but just a little bit of difference whenever they're run. And I think mostly it's that guys get to kind of decide what they want to do within that offense. And I'm like, I need to see more pin down action for Zach, right? I need to see Zach like either start running off that floppy action more, and not always just running pick and roll with them. I need to see DeRozan, most notably. I think you can run like a very simple down screen with DeRozan in the middle of the floor to get him to the elbow, and get him into his spot very, very quickly. with a live dribble. And then obviously with Vucevic, I need to see him in a running or rolling hard to the rim, but also getting opportunities where he can work in the elbow. And we're not seeing that with him. Like he's just kind of floating out there a good amount of the time. Obviously, him in the corner has helped this season, which is I think a good spot for him. But he needs to also be effective in the elbow area as well. I think De'Aaron Fox is number one. Do you think De'Aaron Fox is the number one on a championship caliber team, or are you saying like, or are you saying when you're saying like there's a true number one, right? That between DeRozan and Levine, we don't know who's the number one. Is that what you're saying, Noel? Like there needs to be like a pecking order established, or are you saying that the Bulls don't have like a true number one guy for like a championship caliber team? Because in my opinion, De'Aaron Fox is not a superstar like number one on a winning team. To both, honestly, okay. I personally I love De'Aaron Fox, but he's not, in my opinion, like a superstar like number one player. Okay, like like a number one offensive option. To me, he can definitely be a number two or three, but I don't think he's the number one. The big thing for me is that the Kings definitely have a pecking order established, where it's like De'Aaron's number one, in their offense, and then Domantas Sabonis is number two. But then even in a game like tonight, we saw that Sabonis, like, he didn't even have like that good of a game on or scoring wise, right? I mean, 11 points, but he has 17 rebounds, which was huge. Also 10 assists, so he had that triple double going for him. But like you're kind of seeing that De'Aaron Fox runs the show, even though he kind of struggled tonight. And then Sabonis has been their number two for most of the season, and then the surrounding guys, they fill in when they can. Harrison Barnes is a great example of a role player that understands his role, is very efficient, and can give you 17 points on any given night. But he's obviously like not like a very clear number or like not even like an offensive option. He's just a good role player. I think De'Aaron Fox is better than John Wall, and I think about how much John Wall carried that team. I don't see the Kings winning a championship with this team, but I would expect to be at the top in the regular season. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if this Kings team's making the playoffs. Honestly, I'm still concerned about that. When it comes to De'Aaron Fox, I think he's obviously had a phenomenal season. I'll say that. But again, like we're looking at only 23 points per game. Like if I'm saying like, a guy's a number one, I need to see that like at least 25, probably closer to 27. But that's just my opinion, at least. I don't know if I'd put him over prime John Wall just yet, but I definitely see that comparison. But in my opinion, I don't see this Kings team going too far with De'Aaron Fox as the number one option. Now, if they go and get a superstar to pair alongside De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, that's a totally different story. I see that Kings team going places, but they've been they've had a really good season so far. I hope their success continues, but still, I always point out in the West, man, like it is clumped up, and you can fall down to 11 very, very quickly. I mean, the Timberwolves are 2.5 games behind, and they're in the 11th seed. So, yeah. Sorry, just making dogs don't bad. I see that one of them. I'm not happy. Hold on a second. AZ King, 480. I see you, man. How you doing? You think the Bulls should pursue AD? I mean, I would like them to, but I don't see that happening. AD has been phenomenal recently. Just had a 50-point game, I saw. So Lakers are not trading him anytime soon. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the Bulls are honestly thinking. But I can tell you that they're probably looking to break up the big three that is currently on the roster. I'm kind of interested to see if Zach LaVine has any comments after this one. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to talk about one more thing when it comes to who's gonna stay, who's gonna go with this team. Again, I think contracts is obviously something. I don't really think that people understand, like, hey, when it comes to Zach LaVine's contract, like, it honestly, to me, like, yes, it's a max contract, but like, is it really gonna look humongo when it comes at the end of the day? In my opinion, not really. So in this, let's just say this 25-26, like, yeah, max contract, but then the Bulls have $101 million in cap space still. So there's that, obviously, but I want to talk about, a little bit more when it comes to, like, play style, right? Analytics, etc. Hey, Ivy, come here. I might have to hold one of my dogs, so if I do, I apologize. I think about it, Billy's coaching works with high IQ guards / offensive players. It does, yeah. Billy wants to run small lineups, multiple guards out there, mostly offensive, right? CP3, PG13, Lonzo. Yeah, that definitely works. But I always look at his last season in OKC. CP3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Dennis Schroeder, right? None of those guys are known to be defensive guys, right? It wasn't I know CP3 is kind of like, known to be like that defensive guy, but I mean, at his age, when he was in OKC, he's not a defensive player. Like, yeah, he gets steals, but that's what Billy wants. Is like multiple guards out there that can play off of each other, and I don't see that really on this team, unless you're throwing like Dragic, Zach, and Kobe out there or something. With like Kobe and Zach, yeah, I mean, and Kobe has struggled so far in Billy Donovan's tenure. I think he's done a little bit better recently. Sorry, again, I'm checking on my dogs, but yeah, it just, I don't know necessarily like what Donovan is exactly looking for with this team. Like, yeah, you have Zach, which I think kind of fits exactly what Donovan wants to run on offense. Okay, you have him, but obviously with Lonzo out, it kills this team. But these other, like, who else are you going to surround these guys with? And I don't know exactly if Donovan has the pieces that he wants. And the front office is kind of like, okay, we want to get talent first. The fit isn't there, obviously. So who knows? Who knows what they do? But let me talk about this. I want to talk about this here for a little bit. So it's been noted how much, like, recently on Bulls Twitter, that this Bulls team does not shoot enough 3-point shots, but not only do they shoot not enough threes, but they also their shot tendencies of their shot chart, like, it is one of the worst in the league. There was an article by Forbes. See if I can pull it up here. So Morton Stig Jensen, he's a very good NBA mind on Twitter, and I like his stuff. But he wrote up this article saying, like, how oh my god. Let's see how long this lasts. Let me actually. How much that the Bulls shot profile has actually been. I disabled it. What? Why? Anyway, he's been saying that the Bulls' shot chart or shot profile has been one of the worst in the league. They're taking too many mid-range shots, and they're taking like too many contested mid-range shot areas, right? But the thing is this: when you think about that, okay, where it's like the Bulls are not taking enough threes, they're taking too many mid-range shots, and then they're not getting to the paint enough. Like, who's a guy that fits that helps in all those areas, right? At the end of the day, Zach LaVine is the best 3-point shooter out of the three guys. He's also the best guy in the paint out of the three guys, and can legit shoot from anywhere. analytically, Zach LaVine is the best guy out of those three guys. And I understand that DeRozan, we knew that he was not a three-point shooter. But if you're going to be choosing, who to roll with, I'd be shocked if this front office is like, okay, we're seeing that we don't make enough threes and we don't take enough threes, that they decide to roll with the DeMar DeRozan who doesn't take threes or make threes over Zach LaVine. So at the end of the day, I'm looking like Zach's going to be here because he's one of those guys that analytically it all favors towards what he does. And I also tweeted this out during the game that, look, man, what people need to get out of their heads is this right here. Bulls fans, we have been so conditioned to be a fan of the mid-range shot. Michael Jordan, okay? And then even past MJ era, I can think of so many other guys where, even including Derrick Rose, right? Derrick Rose wasn't necessarily a three-point shooter. He could definitely make it, but his mid-range game was also something I think was severely underrated. Jimmy Butler, when his time was here. Luol Deng, okay? These are guys that thrived off the mid-range shot. And I think we as Bulls fans, we've been kind of conditioned to think mid-range shot over three-point shot. And that's something that I'm like, you have to get that out of your heads. I'm not saying eliminate the mid-range shot, because you never should eliminate the mid-range shot. You should be allowed to take mid-range shots, especially when they're open. But when people start, complaining about Zach LaVine's shot selection, where he starts taking threes, how many times did you see the Sacramento Kings tonight take a contested three-point shot that was off the dribble, or it's a fadeaway three contested? You see it all the time. And this is how the modern NBA is. You take threes even if you're just kind of open. So when Zach LaVine starts taking these three-point shots, everyone's like, oh, bad shot selection. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is what we need out of him. And tonight, he took some threes, especially in that third quarter, where it's just it wasn't necessarily an amazing shot, but I would much rather him shoot that three ball instead of him taking a mid-range shot, because it's analytically the better shot. Yes, it may be tough, but at the end of the day, Zach LaVine's a shot maker. And I guarantee you, if any other, bring in any other all-star to this team that shoots threes, that's a consistent part of their game, the Bulls fans would be killing them because, again, we're conditioned to mid-range shots. I think Michael Jordan has legit conditioned Bulls fans to be mid-range shot only, don't take threes unless you're extremely wide open. And that's something that just cannot happen. Everybody needs to take an open three-point shot. I understand with DeRozan specifically, where he doesn't shoot threes. That's a little bit different. But we're talking about guys like Ayodasumu, Alex Caruso, Vucevic, Patrick Williams. If they're open, they need to take those shots. And it bothers me when I'm seeing bad shot by Zach, but it was a three-point shot off of a pick and roll. How many other All-Stars do that in today's game? Jason Tatum does that every game, and we don't see people talking about that at all, right? This is why three-point shots are so important. And Zach LaVine, he should be taking 8 to 10 three-point shots per game. He needs to, because he is one of the best three-point shooters in this league. Obviously, this season he's had a rough go, but we've seen in his career that he is a phenomenal three-point shooter. Why would you not take those shots? Lonzo Ball, another great example. He takes 8 to 10 three-point shots per game. I want that. Hence, also, he is a horrible mid-range shooter. Don't shoot the mid-range. Take the three-point shot. Kobe White, a lot of people complain about his shot selection. But in my opinion, I'm like, hey, if you have an open three-point shot, you're one of the better three-point shooters on this team. Yes, you're streaky. You got to take that shot. So we always talk about, on Bulls Twitter, hey, this Bulls team doesn't take enough threes. They don't make enough threes. Well, get it out of your head that this Bulls team should be taking more mid-range over threes. Don't be complaining when we see guys take three-point shots, even if they are a little bit contested, okay? This quote-unquote forced word doesn't make much sense to me, because at the end of the day, I'm looking at Zach LaVine being a guy that has shot over 40% from three-point range in a season. Last year it was 39%. He can make that shot over anybody. And yes, I would like it to be in the flow of the offense. Obviously, don't just come down and chuck up a three. But if he's taking a three-point shot off a pick and roll, I want to see that. I want to see more of that instead of him passing it to Vucevic for a mid-range, 18-footer. Okay, this is something that we need to start implementing into our heads. That analytically, we're killing ourselves if we keep saying that, when Zach takes a three, it's a bad shot. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and I'm sick and tired of seeing it. We're seeing teams, they're putting up 40 plus 3-point shots per game. The Bulls, I'm not saying they need to get to that number, but I need to see them in the 30 range, and they've been consistently kind of hanging around like 25. They need to get into like the 35 area to start, and actually just start, shooting these shots, because at the end of the day, the more you shoot, the more you're going to make. You have to. It's the only way for this team to be actually a better team on offense, right? Take the shot when you're open. I thought Alex Caruso had many open 3-point looks in that fourth quarter. He did not take them. Inexcusable. Zach is pissed. You think it might come down to either me or the coach? I don't think so, because at the end of the day, Zach LaVine is still showing up to work. Trae Young has decided to not come and play in games all of a sudden because him and Nate McMillan apparently had an issue. So I think that kind of shows you that, hey, Zach LaVine's a professional and isn't as much of a locker room cancer as Bulls fans try to make him out to be. And it shows you that, no, this dude's going to come and work every single day. And you got someone like Trae Young, who's a problem currently with the Atlanta Hawks. Bad shot selection, bro. Shot selection been like that. Before DeMar came, those bad shots were going in. Explain 13 threes against Charlotte. Example. So I mean, like, look, like those bad shots, yeah, they were definitely going in, but I'm still seeing, like, Bulls fans are saying, and this is the part that bothers me the most, is like Bulls fans are saying when Zach LaVine has, an off the dribble 3-point shot and it's like actually an open shot, they're upset. And I'm like, why are you upset when he created separation and it's a step back? Everyone's saying drive to the rim. Like, sure, but we're talking about, again, one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. I want him taking those threes. That's not a bad shot if he's taking a step back three, created separation 1-on-1. That's a good shot. Again, how many times do we see Malik Monk today just come off a screen, 2 dribbles, step back, created space, chucked it up? That's how you play in today's NBA game. This is how it has to go in today's NBA game, and I don't understand why Bulls fans are just so, like, against that idea. Like, everyone talks about Devin Booker and, like, him, like, yes, he's better than LaVine. But I swear to God, if Devin Booker was on this Bulls team, Bulls fans would hate the absolute hell out of him because he takes a bunch of threes as well. And they're going to be like, why aren't you shooting the mid-range? Why aren't you getting to the paint more? It's like, bro, I want Devin Booker shooting threes. I want him shooting as many as possible. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, good. My dog's finally relaxed. Kings, Ted, are you a Kings fan? I've had, I think, multiple Kings fans actually come into this stream. So, I'm a Bulls fan, but congrats on the win. I'm thoroughly impressed with what the Kings have done to start the season. I'm upset at my Bulls team because their offense has sucked all season, and it sucked in this game, especially in that second quarter, and that's what lost the Bulls the game. Since '89, wow, long-time Kings fan. Yeah, congrats to you. Hope you guys have a good season. I'm still a little bit doubtful of some things with this Kings team, but obviously you guys have been off to a good start. Just that, I mean, the Western Conference, man, that is a loaded conference, and I think people said that the East is loaded. I think the West is still the more loaded conference. So yeah, it's been a long time since we had a good season. Oh, definitely. And I know you Kings fans deserve better. And it sucks to see that you guys haven't had any sort of playoff success since how long ago now? Like, it's been forever since you guys made the playoffs. So you guys deserve a lot better. Hopefully this is the start of it. I'm still a little bit concerned because, I mean, like, I feel like there are definitely teams right now below you that are underperforming. So that's the reason why I'm still a little bit concerned. But yeah, you guys have got off to a great start. I like what Mike Brown has done to the team. And I'm liking what De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and how they're playing. Yeah, I hope the management takes this in the right direction, doesn't go in the wrong direction. I know that Tyrese Halliburton trade, people still talk about it. I still don't know if people say it's a win-win. It definitely looks like a win-win now, but I'm still a little bit concerned about that deal. But obviously Sabonis is playing well, so yeah, hopefully that works out for you. 16 years, yeah. Oh my god, man, that 16 years is ridiculous, and like that should be inexcusable in any sport, honestly. Um, Sorry, I'm on dog sitting duty, and my dogs are on my bed, and they're causing a ruckus. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys continue this success. You're 7-3 in your last 10, which is obviously great. Won your last 3 games, so continue playing well. And I think you have a really good shot to play in this season for sure. I'm just kind of I'm still a little bit concerned about actually getting into the playoffs for you guys. Yeah. All right. And just to wrap up, I was making a point about the Bulls and their horrible offense. Like this right here, this Bulls offense is not shooting enough threes. Zach LaVine should be shooting 8 to 10 threes per game. Kobe White, whenever he has the opportunity, shoot the 3 ball. Okay, and it's been widely noted, and it was in this Forbes article that I can't for some reason pull up. I disabled that blocker. But Zach, I mean, look, Zach's shooting 8.1 threes per game. Like that's normally where he kind of sits. When it comes from shooting threes. That's fine. I wouldn't mind that if that number goes up to 9. Okay. It's important for him to shoot the 3 ball because he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the game. I know he struggled recently, but we just saw tonight he put up 41 points. Okay. He needs to shoot the ball. And Bulls fans should not be upset if he's shooting 3-point shots. End of the day. Yes, there are definitely times he definitely forces shots. I'm not saying that he doesn't ever, but there are too many times to see Bulls fans say, hey, that's a horrible shot by Zach, when I'm like, no, that's modern NBA. Any other all-star takes that shot. And guess what? Zach can make them. So take the shots. I won't be upset at all if he's taking more of those shots at the end of the day. Other person that in the article that was like, hey, maybe this person can start helping out on the in terms of shooting threes is this man right here. Io this season, his 3-point, he's gone up in 3-point attempts per game, but it's still not enough. I think Io could get this number up to 5, honestly. And I know that him off the dribble, in terms of his 3-point shot, is still a little bit in question. He can definitely shoot that mid-range shot off the dribble easily. But I think Io can get more catch-and-shoot opportunities for 3-point range. I think it's notable that he's actually still averaging 10, even through his struggles that he's had recently. His 3-point percentage has obviously gone down, but he is a consistent catch-and-shoot 3-point guy. I know he's gone through a rough stretch recently, but he started off the year really good. I need to see more from him. Even if they're not going down, take them. He made, I think, 1 today. Continue to take those shots. That's going to help the Bulls' shot profile and hopefully start get this offense a little bit higher. Because it's just a little upsetting to see that this Bulls offense continues to struggle throughout this entire season. I just don't know what to say at this point. Yes, coaching's a part of it. I think the big 3, yeah, they're a part of it too. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at the entire team. Doesn't matter who it is. Guys got to shoot the 3 ball if they're open. Plain and simple. All right, good. My dogs are finally laying down and going to sleep. Now we can finally get back to this right here. So Ted, I just want to actually, if you're still here, I would like to ask you about Domantas Sabonis. He didn't have that great of a game in terms of scoring, but we saw his impact everywhere else on the floor. Obviously, 17 rebounds is significant, but I've seen Sabonis do that before. But the biggest thing for me was that his 10 assists were huge, and I've seen Sabonis have games where he's bringing the ball up the floor, etc., etc. But I have never seen him do it this much, especially in this one. He was consistently bringing the ball up when he got the defensive rebound and was doing a great job running the Kings fast break. So that was awesome to see. So if you have anything to say about that, Ted, that'd be great. But I like to see that from Domantas Sabonis because he has good handles for center. So it's really cool to see that. Again, modern NBA, it doesn't matter who's taking the ball up. Yeah. So there's a lot going on here for the Sacramento Kings, and Sabonis doing that is awesome. Been a Bulls fan since 2020. So longtime Bulls fans have witnessed worst season. Oh, for sure. Want the Bulls to be successful, that's all. Me too. Yeah. I mean, Magugla, you didn't see the 2017-18 season where the Bulls hit the rebuild for the first time. Like, oh my god, that was awful. Year after that was also pretty awful. So like, yeah. He's the anchor of the team that will enhance others around him. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. What do you think of his defense right now, Ted? That's kind of been the question with Sabonis. Has been like his defensive issues. He's not a shot blocker, obviously, but the biggest thing for me is that he moves his feet really well. So I don't know how much a defensive issue he is. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Um, but yeah, Magula, yeah, this Bulls team just needs to be successful. Again, I know this is one of those games where I'm like, oh man, we should have won this one. I'm still looking. This team is. I still can see them easily making it to the playoffs. Now we're probably more in the range of like playing now, but I'm still looking at this team to make the playoffs. East is still pretty much kind of stacked up from like fourth seed down, right? Bulls are only 4 games out of fourth. We're 3 games out of 6, right? So yeah, not a great start. We're now 5 games under 500. Shouldn't be that, but we got some winnable games coming up here. They got to start winning. They're on too much of a losing stretch here recently, and that's got to start getting better. But Washington, they've already kind of fallen off here. But I'm looking at Indiana specifically. That's like I don't trust that team to continue staying in that 5 seed, and then also the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like they're going to also fall, but we'll see here. There are times, yeah. Started watching basketball since 2020. I'll give it until January to estimate where team is officially at. Yeah. I always say with any team, you gotta give it at least 25 games to kind of start saying like, okay, now we're kind of seeing what the team is. Bulls are coming up on that mark very quickly. They're at 23 games now, so that's concerning. But I'm still gonna say like yeah, around January to like more so like Christmas, I'd say, is when we're gonna really see what this team is. They're not trending in the right direction. I'll say that. That's been an issue. Martin needs to own the Wizards like he did January 1st of this year. Lol. Yeah, that'd be nice, but I don't know if that's happening. DeRozan, man, the last 2 games for DeRozan has been bad. Like, it's been egregiously bad. I feel like we have such a great bench, and that's overlooked. Really? Okay. I think I've always known the Kings to have a good bench this season. Like I've been hearing it all season long, but I guess it's just me. Maybe you guys are overlooked. I'm not. That's kind of news to me that you think that a little bit overlooked. Let's see here. Bench points. Okay. King. Yeah, I mean you're up there. Guys have been phenomenal off the bench. Yeah. Mars been in a slump sucks though. Yeah. Thank you for 1 minute, Yama. Let's go. Yeah, man. I I hope it's not happening. Honestly, we kind of saw one Chicago team today, Bears, where I think they got kind of almost intentionally tanked. So that wasn't good to see, and I hope that isn't the case for the Bulls. Yeah, the Kings bench man. I mean, I've been like when you have a Malik Monk on your team, that's a guy that can obviously go off. I've always been a fan of Chemezi Metu. I've always liked him. So he obviously came off the bench. The person that I was more impressed with today was KZ Okpala, man. That dude defensively is very, very solid. And he did a great job guarding Levine or DeRozan tonight. So yeah, solid by KZ Okpala. And hit his defensive game. And one person I will say, like Terrence Davis, man, he's also, I feel like he's had, some good stretches, right? And it's been, he missed this one due to injury / illness, and so that's another guy that has been great. I think we should have waited for true number one off the draft, so I'm going all in with Zach. Well, I don't think we went all in with Zach, being number one, right? It's more so that they started, instead of just being, stuck in no man's land where you suck but you're not getting a top 4 pick. You're instead like, okay, let's start winning and keep Zach here because that's a proven all-star, and let's try to figure out if we can get a guy that can be a number one, right? Because again, at the end of the day, if you tank, if you suck, as we saw with this Bulls team, you're not guaranteed a top pick, and that's gonna ruin your franchise forever if you don't hit on that pick or if you don't get the top pick when you suck for a season. Okay, so I think that's where it's more so like, I think they had a lot of faith in P. Will, and I'm still being patient with Patrick Williams. It still doesn't look good for him though. In terms of that, we are given the opportunity though, but I think P. Will needs to just do better with opportunities given, right? Rookie season had plenty of opportunity, and I know it's his rookie season, but that hurt him. And then this is like year number 2 for him because injury to his second year. So this is the reason why like I'm not opposed to getting rid of Vooch, getting rid of DeRozan, get value back for those guys, especially for DeRozan because his value is high right now, and have Pat take a bigger offensive role. He's clearly not ready to be a 1 or a 2, but get him ready to get more offensive opportunities. When is Ball coming back? Never. We got an update recently from Billy Donovan that his rehab has been slow. His progress has been slow. I've been saying that ever since Lonzo had that second surgery that he's out at least until January. I'm more so leaning towards that Lonzo Ball's never playing this season, and I am questioning that his career. I'm actually starting to think his career's in jeopardy because it doesn't look like it's getting any better. The surgery apparently he most recently got rid of some pieces or like loose pieces in his knee that was affecting his nerve, and that's great, but nothing good. So do we trade him? I would, but then who's taking it? No one's gonna pay Lonzo Ball $20 million a year to sit out, right? I've honestly been saying, like, if this injury continues to happen or if this thing continues, like Lonzo Ball right now, for me at least, like he is nowhere in this Bulls plans at all for the future. He's gone. Right? This Bulls team cannot be sitting here and hoping and praying to God that Lonzo Ball's health is going to fix itself and hoping that he's going to be here for the future. They cannot do that. Like, it sucks, and I feel horrible for him. But they cannot sit around and be like, we're just hoping that Lonzo gets here. They can't do that. They already have to plan on, 1, Lonzo not being here for the rest of the season, but 2, what's the point guard position going to look like for the future? I've been saying Ayo should be that guy. He's now benched. I think if Ayo gets a little bit more of an opportunity here, he'll look a little bit better. But for the future, at least, I mean, Ayo's obviously a guy, but I wouldn't mind them start looking at other options externally to help that point guard position because, again, I don't know about Lonzo, man. I am extremely concerned about him. And it has put the Bulls in a very rough spot because that point guard position is supposed to be locked down for the next 4 seasons, and it's not. It's all of a sudden a big question mark, and it sucks. Bulls are in a really weird position. Yeah, they definitely are. But here's the thing. I think they're in a better position than they were 5 years ago, or I should say the last couple of seasons before they actually started winning. I think if the Bulls just continue to just suck and pray to God that one of their guys that they drafted at 7 overall becomes something, then I think it's like, man, it's not going to look good. Try to tell y'all Zach's going to be all right. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it too. I think Zach's going to be fine. I understand he sucked to start the season, but conditioning is huge. Lot Mom, good to see you back here again. Glad to see you. I hope you're doing well. think we could snag D'Angelo Russell? Potentially, yeah. I'm just not that high on him, but yeah, I think he could be an option. I'll remain optimistic. Yeah. Is it? I hope I'm saying it's Cucklord, right? But what are you thinking for this Bulls team? In terms of Lonzo, and then moving forward, who stays, who goes? Vooch might have to go. He might not be a fit. Yeah, I think he's probably going this season. I think Vooch is definitely gone. Yeah. Feel like something's better than nothing. Yeah. I think with D'Lo, I wouldn't mind it, obviously, because he shoots the three. I'm just, what are we giving up in the end? Yeah. Llama, not Zach though. These pieces don't fit. So yeah, Llama, you weren't here, but I just went through like a whole rant about why the Bulls have to keep Zach. So, we've been talking about how this Bulls offense has sucked this season. They're now 22nd in offensive rating, which is garbage. So they're bottom third. Last season, though, if you look last season, this Bulls offense was ranked 13th. Okay? Now, it's been widely noted that this Bulls offense does not shoot enough threes. They do not make enough threes. And I'm like, out of the three guys that are currently on the roster, of the big three, okay, which one of them analytically is the best in terms of their play style and their game? The obvious answer is Zach, right? He shoots the three the best out of the three of them. And when he's 100%, he finishes best in the paint out of the three of them. So analytically, he's the one that's going to stay, because the Bulls need to shoot more threes. They need to have a better shot profile. And Zach LaVine analytically is the guy that is the best out of the three of them. And he's like an analytic person. Like he fits perfectly into what the NBA wants to do, right? Get into the paint, shoot threes, right? That's what Zach LaVine does. Now, he obviously can shoot from anywhere, which is great. You need to have that mid-range game still. But the Bulls, there was a Forbes article about their shot profile. They take too many mid-range shots. Obviously, DeRozan's a part of that, but it's not just DeRozan. It's Patrick Williams, right? It's Ayo Dosunmu. It's Kobe White. It's Alex Caruso. We got too many guys taking mid-range shots on this team. We need to see more three-point shots. And obviously, the one star that we can consistently rely on from three is Zach. And I know he sucked to start the season, but he's the youngest out of the three. He's proven to be the best shooter out of the three. So, I'm keeping him. D'Angelo's on an expiring contract. Okay, wait. I actually did not know that. That's good to bring up. I appreciate you telling me that. Let's look at this here. He got paid a decent chunk here, so $31 million. Yeah, expiring. Ugh. Yeah. If I'm the Bulls, I'm not paying too much for D'Angelo Russell because he's gonna hit free agency. Fortunately, the Bulls will not have the money to get him when he hits free agency this offseason. But yeah, that'd be a little bit of too much of a gamble for me. Unless you can guarantee that he signs like an extension here. Excuse me. I wouldn't do that trade now that I know that. Hey, Cam, you got to figure out something. And by figure out something, I mean time to start scouting, making calls, and see what's out there and what kind of pieces they can acquire. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and here's the thing. I think they are. I guess the one thing out of the Billy Donovan situation, which is that, we're like, why the hell do we not know about this until, when we got when we got the news, is that so far through what Carnage Showis and Mark Eversley have done, they've been silent in their movement, right? We do not know what they're up to. And even Casey Johnson, who has the front office's numbers, like, he doesn't even get much word. Like, the only thing that's been leaked to him that he's gotten right was that the front office was thinking of taking Patrick Williams. But other than that, like, the Vucevic trade came out of nowhere. The DeRozan trade was notified, like, it got into the news, or the DeRozan acquisition, I should say, was in the news a little bit before it happened, but, like, we're talking day of free agency, right? So yeah, that's where it's like, at least we know with AKME, like, whenever they're making decisions, it's not going to get leaked. So all these rumors that are out there, you can't trust them because they don't leak anything. So that's the one positive I'm taking out of that Billy Donovan, extension. I hope it works out well. Who knows? D'Angelo Russell, that would be nice if we could. Yeah, it's just that what Noel brought up. He's unrestricted free agent after this season. So I'm not paying him, or I'm not trading much for him if we end up getting him, but because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, I'm a little bit concerned. So yeah, I don't know if I'd do that deal currently. Doubt him getting more than what he is getting now. Oh, for sure. I agree with that, Noel, but he could still, decide to leave the Bulls, right? I don't want to take that risk if I'm giving up any sort of assets for him, when he comes here, that he's just going to leave. Have to go get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I mean, I'm always been a big fan of Miles Turner, but that dude is also kind of has injury issues. Buddy Hield is someone that I think is interesting. It's just that he's also kind of had like ups and downs this season. What I've been realizing, obviously, shooter, right? Need shooting. But it's just, I think we can maybe find a little bit, of a cheaper guy that shoots the ball similarly, but isn't that expensive for Buddy. Miles Turner is interesting. I just don't know how he gets here, right? Why would the Pacers take Miles or Nikola Vucevic for Miles Turner? And contractually, you need to kind of send out Vucevic's contract to get him here. Now, I'm not. What is Miles Turner's current contract? I don't think he's a free agent this offseason. Oh, he is. So maybe the Bulls just go out and get him somehow, sign and trade, get him. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a little bit interesting. We get Buddy Hield in turn. We are going to be stuck in mediocrity for years. Yeah, my biggest issue with those two guys is that Buddy Hield's making $20+ million. That's a little bit too much of the cap, in my opinion, to be just giving to a shooter. We need to spend Miles Turner making 18 or 17 million. That's fine because he's a starter. But Buddy Hield would be coming off the bench, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to give $20 million to a bench guy. Yes, we need shooting, but I think there's a little bit better options than that. And Miles Turner, he's not going to be here to be a third option or like a second option. He'd just be here to solidify that center position, and then we need to go and surround him with better offensive options out there. Obama is the cheaper Turner. Yeah, but the Magic just brought him back. I guess maybe he'd be available. He's only signed to a 2-year deal, though. So then he's going to hit free agency very quickly again. Also, I worry about him and his injuries, too. So, maybe. Yeah. I'm going to definitely, probably make a few videos on this, but I am searching for shooting for this Bulls team. Again, I don't think it's necessarily all the front office's fault that this Bulls team shooting-wise has struggled. We saw Zach finally start hitting some threes tonight, which is good. I'm happy to see Zach is, looking like Zach again. Vucevic and his 3-point shot has seriously regressed, and then Lonzo Ball's out. So we're missing, one of our best 3-point shooters, and then the other two guys have been, or Zach has, had not gone up to the greatest start, and Vucevic's 3-point shot has seriously regressed. So it sucks, but it's where we are currently. So I'm kind of looking around, where's some shooting that we can get. Miles Turner and trade talks have been going on for a century. I mean, yeah, I don't know what's up with that dude, honestly. Buddy isn't a team player. Oh yeah, we have a Kings fan in here. So yeah, he can tell us all about Buddy Hield and his time in Sacramento. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Buddy Hield is someone that I don't follow too hard, so maybe you can tell me more. But yeah, maybe he isn't a team player. But I think I'm more just concerned with Buddy that his contract is just it's a little bit too much for me. Grady Dick in the draft will be our solution to 3-point shooting. As you can see, I'm super high on that kid. Yeah, I know that, draft is an option. Remember I said they also should go after Seth Curry. Yeah, Unstoppable brought up Seth Curry in our previous stream. That's definitely someone I think is possible, right? That the Bulls can definitely go get. He's cheap, $10 million or $8 million, right? This is someone that I think the Bulls can go get, and he's making, okay money where it's like, yeah, designated shooter. Here you go, $8 million. Okay. And I know he's had some injury issues, but this is a guy that I would look to go get. I don't know what the Brooklyn Nets are going to be doing, but yeah, he's one guy that I'm all in, go get this guy if you can. he'll help a lot. Not gonna lie, but the Nets are doing much better. Yeah, Steve Nash is gone. That helps. I just think that the Nets front office, they're just done. You know, like they don't want, like, Sean Marks, he doesn't want KD and Kyrie anymore, in my opinion. So if that's the case, then I wouldn't be shocked if they're moving this guy on the screen here. So yeah, kind out seeing them trade anyone anymore. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know what the Nets going to be doing. Like they could be like full on sellers at this trade deadline, but they could also be buyers, or they could just do nothing and just wait out the Kyrie contract until that runs out, and then still be stuck with Kevin Durant for 4 years. So I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, it just seems like this Nets team, they're not committed to building around KD, because I've always said, like, this Nets team, the way it was structured, like, yeah, you got the big three, but like the rest of the team was not very good around them. They have obviously some good guys. Nick Claxton's one of them that I love, but like when you're signing guys like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge to be your centers, like that's not a good job of, you know, building the team around the 3 stars that you had. And now it's like, okay, Kyrie wants out. He's 100% gone. KD asked for a trade. James Harden's been traded. Like, I just don't know what they're going to be doing. So this guy's available. I'd look to go get him. I'm not spending a first on him, but who knows? I'm willing to trade some guys, definitely. I know the obvious name is Kobe, but who knows? Okay, here's another idea. I think the Nets will blow it up. How do you feel about maybe going at the Ben Simmons? It's definitely someone I've considered. I actually was considering Ben Simmons like a couple of years ago for the Bulls. And here's the thing with Ben. If the Bulls get him, in my opinion, I don't want him running the point guard, okay? I want him running like the power forward. And he can obviously handle the ball, but like he should be running the power forward. How do the Bulls get him? It'd be, you know, Patrick Williams and some other stuff, and obviously some picks. But I wouldn't personally mind it. I would have to make sure that, one, he's committed to playing most of the time, because he's also a guy that's derailed with injuries right now. And he needs to work on that free throws, like, and his free throws. Like, he just straight up has to be better from the free throw line. I'm not asking him to get a jumper. I'm just asking him to be better from the free throw line. If he does that, it's worth it. But those are too many questions currently. And I need to see how he plays. And he's been out recently again with some knee issues. So, not a horrible idea. The thing is that I just think the Nets, they're actually more committed to Ben Simmons than they are to Kevin Durant currently. So I don't know how much he's available. I don't think he really is available. KD's work ethic, yeah, that's kind of where I'm concerned, right? The dude, like, I feel like the dude finds any excuse to not play, and then when he has time to work on his game, I don't think he works on his game. Again, it's the reason why I'm keeping Zach, man, because Zach LaVine's work ethic has been very notably, like, people see it. He works constantly. I know he sucked to start the season, but like that dude works. So I like guys that work hard. I think Buddy Hield and Turner would be goodbye for the Nets. Yeah, potentially. But I mean, is KD going to, or like who you trading for that? Like that's like $40 million that you have to match if you're Brooklyn. So it's just kind of like who are you going to trade to get those two guys there? Yeah. Easy about my nose. Yeah, I'm gonna be searching around. Another guy that's actually on the Brooklyn Nets that's been killing it from 3-point range is Yuta Watanabe. I feel like that's a guy that is very underrated. You know, multiple 2-way contracts. Has had he's been cut multiple times from teams. And you know, as an Asian myself, like I pay attention to the fact that there isn't that much Asian representation in the NBA. So seeing Yuta Watanabe from Japan, like, you know, be successful, like that's awesome to me. And his 3-point percentage has actually been pretty solid this season. So maybe he's another guy that the Bulls could be like, hey, cheap contract. Look to go get him. Don't know how available he is, obviously, in terms of his playing ability, I should say, because as you see here, he is currently injured with a hamstring issue. Ben Simmons trade value is at an all-time low. I think it's the lowest it's been in his career. I just don't think that it's like, down the drain. It's definitely it's at the lowest in his career. I would agree with that. I just think that if the Brooklyn Nets are gonna be like, hey, we're gonna trade him, they at least want some value in return and not no value in return, right? They wouldn't just want a salary filler. Kyrie or Ben, I suppose, with Cam Thomas. Ooh. Yeah, I can actually see that. That got me thinking, actually. Most notably Kyrie. I don't think they trade Ben for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. But yeah, I can see that, especially with Cam Thomas being thrown in. That'd be interesting. Yeah. The thing is what bothers me about that is if you're the Indiana Pacers, is Cam Thomas enough for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner? Like, I know Kyrie has to be thrown into that because of contract, but like, I think if you're Indiana, you're like, I want to pick as well, and Brooklyn doesn't have any picks, so that's the concerning part. But yeah, that'd be a good starting point and probably a good discussion to have. See here, wanna okay. All right, I want to look at 3-point percentage here for guys that at least qualify. Damian Lee is a guy that I would have loved. Obviously, he's doing well in Phoenix. Sam Hauser, yeah. No, it's crazy that Al Horford, his 3-point percentage is actually pretty high, but then against the Bulls, he was just clanking threes left and right. Like, he was just always missing threes. So that was interesting to see. The P. Will's 3-point percentage is actually pretty high, but he just, in my opinion, doesn't take enough. He needs to take more, in my opinion, before I'm like, oh, we got a 3-point shooter on our hands. I will say it's looked good. It's definitely improved, and that's good to see. Javon Carter's 3-point percentage is actually a little bit higher than I think. This is the issue, is that early in the season, it's like it's kind of hard to look at because we got some guys that their 3-point percentage is a little bit too high, in my opinion. So off last season, like, let's see here. Guy like Max Strus could be available if Miami decides to move on from him. I know Georges Niang is a guy. We talked about this, I think, last stream. I believe he's a free agent in 2023 that I think the Bulls could actually afford, right? Let's see here. Am I wrong? No, he's right here. So yeah. This is one of those guys that I feel like would fit in pretty well with this Bulls roster. His 3-point shooting has dramatically improved, as you can see from this right here. So yeah, that'd be a guy I would target if I'm the Bulls, at least in the offseason, in my opinion. How come Devontae didn't play in this game? He was out due to some injury. I forget what it was. I want the Bulls to rest their starters a bit more and give P. Will and Io more game time. Kobe as well. I agree. But not too much, obviously. I've been saying that I think Io DeSumo needs more on-ball opportunities, specifically pick-and-roll opportunities, because that dude in the pick-and-roll I feel like is actually pretty effective. But because, he's playing next to Zach and DeMar, he gets limited opportunities to do so. So it kind of hurts him. And also, when he's in the second unit, he's playing next to Dragic, and Dragic is a guy that needs the ball in his hands. So it's like, how does Io get his opportunity, right? So I wouldn't mind trying to see, like, hey, it's like how do the Bulls start making some more lineups where it's like put Io more in that playmaking position, and have the ball in his hands. Because I mean, we've seen it before. Like the reason why I say that I think Io next to Zach works out well is because Zach doesn't need the ball. Like I know it's like, well, Zach, he's very good on ball as well, but like Zach doesn't need the ball to be effective, but someone like DeRozan does, right? And that's why I'm like, I think Zach and Io will work out fine, but when you pair it next to DeRozan, that's a major ball handler. So I just don't know how you get those guys as well. Going into a lot bar, I did hit the sub, and I'll see you later. Go Kings and go Bulls. I appreciate it, Ted. Appreciate it a lot. I'm glad to see a Kings fan in here. I like to hear other teams' fans' insights on their team. So appreciate that a lot. Have fun at the bar. Yeah, I just don't know, man. Like, this is where I'm starting to question, like, what is Billy Donovan going to be doing from here on forward? Because he keeps running out these lineups where I'm like, it's either that there's no point guard out there or that we have too many point guards out there, right? There was a lineup today where it was Caruso, Kobe White, DeMar DeRozan, Derrick Jones Jr., and Andre Drummond. Like, there's no point guard in that lineup necessarily. I know Caruso can obviously run the point, but like we don't really see a playmaker besides DeRozan. And then we're seeing lineups where it's like you have Io, Dragic, and Kobe out there, and it's like, what? Who's the ball handler? Who's the two guard? So I'm trying to figure out like what's the better combination for these guys. Would much rather have them develop for next year. Let's be real, we aren't competing until either we get Lonzo back / P-Will blossoms into something better. Oh, for sure. But I still want to be relevant. Like, if you're all about like, hey, let's work towards the future, I'm fine with that. I just want to be, trying to win games still by doing that. So whether that's, you trade the veterans on this team, most notably DeRozan and Vooch, that's fine. Yeah. It's just that I want to still be, I still want to be winning with this team moving forward. And not just, straight up tanking and hoping we get a better draft pick this season. Because again, only top 4 protected. Very small chance we get that. So yeah, if it's all about developing Io, Kobe / P-Will, and Dale and Terry getting some minutes, I'm fine with that as well. It's just that, I'm not going to say, hey, let's sit Zach out, or let's trade Zach, and let's trade Caruso, and let's trade all these other guys just to hit the tank button full out. I think that's a horrible idea. And I want to still be relevant because, again, we need to show that Chicago's a destination. Let's see here. This is where it's like I actually started to think people are starting to look at this Bulls team like, okay, maybe DeRozan needs to go, right? I've been actually seeing a lot more from people recently because, again, Zach LaVine, analytically, he's the better player, right? He shoots the threes the best out of the big three. He scores inside best out of the big three. This is the guy that you would keep because these other two guys, they don't fit the analytics as well. So he stays here. Now, if you move to DeRozan, now things actually start to get interesting for 2023, actually. 2023, we're looking at DeRozan. He gets a little bit higher in salary here. But the biggest thing for me is like if you get rid of this money, Bulls already could have $11 million in cap space if they just get rid of everyone else here. Don't worry about Io just yet. He'll be re-signed. I'll explain how. But if you take DeRozan's contract off the books, Bulls are actually looking at some pretty decent money all of a sudden, where it's like, hey, we can actually start looking at fixing up this team a little bit. One person that is going to be a free agent that I would kind of like on this team is this man right here, Jakob Poeltl. I think he is very underrated defensively. He obviously has his offensive limits, but if the Bulls move on from Vucevic, they have the cap space to get someone like Jakob Poeltl. I'd be all for Jakob Poeltl, man. I think he'd fit in this roster very, very well. His defense, man, is very, very well known around the league. I would look for him to be like the center moving forward. But then the other areas where this team needs to get better is shooting wise, getting better wings to shoot the ball better. So maybe some money going towards those things wouldn't be a bad idea either. One person I saw here is Josh Richardson. He's not going to get $12 million. So maybe he's a guy the Bulls could potentially go get. Lonnie Walker's maybe another guy, but he doesn't shoot the ball as consistently. I would not want to bring Justin Holiday back. So maybe there are some guys out here. I mentioned Georges Niang. If the Bulls have money, I'd get him. What is Terrence Davis shooting? I feel like he's actually a guy that Terrence Davis just not in Basketball Reference. I spelled it wrong. No, he's here. I spelled it wrong. Yeah, I mean, here's another guy too. He's shooting it better this season, right? Yeah, there's options, man. There's definitely options if the Bulls decide to move on from DeRozan and Vooch. And, you know, if they eventually end up trading Zach, there's still, you know, options to get better on shooting threes, right? Do you think they should put in a bid for Jackson Hayes? I'm a little bit concerned about Jackson Hayes because I know off the court he's had some issues. So I personally wouldn't do that. I don't even know if he's played. Has he even like gotten like any significant minutes this season? Like I think he's on the bench, right? Like, he hasn't played a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily do this. And if I could maybe trade a second for him, yeah, I'd do it. But I don't know if that would be enough. Did the Pelicans pick up his option? Do we know? Or sorry, never mind. I'm stupid. He's gonna be a free agent. Never mind. Yeah, he's gonna be restricted. I don't know. Maybe we'll throw some money at him. That wouldn't be too bad. I would not trade for him right now. By the way, now I figured, like, yeah, he's gonna be a restricted free agent. I wouldn't trade for him. I'd wait till free agency to see if I have some money. Which I don't know. Honestly, I don't see the Bulls having much money. But yeah, that this would be one guy. Maybe the Bulls look at. I would just more target guys that are unrestricted, in my opinion. So let's just go to centers, for example. Let's say Vucevic is off the table, or we move him. Again, here's Jakob Poeltl. This is the reason why I kind of like the idea. So restricted free agency, Jackson Hayes. We'll see. Drummond, I don't know what he's going to do. I think he's going to pick up that option, though. Yeah, not a lot out there. I'll say that. I like Dwight Powell, but he's getting up there in age. So not a lot of options out there. So you move on from Vooch, you gotta have some sort of replacement. That's to talk about free agent. Okay, yeah. I wouldn't mind it, I'll say. I just would not pay him too much money. Like, he's gonna have to like get like a prove it contract instead of like locking him up for guaranteed money. So give him like maybe 3 years, but the years 2 and 3 are like non-guaranteed, and like he has to stay on the roster to get that money. Sure, yeah. AD's playing like a god. Oh, for sure, man. AD is looking like Anthony Davis that we thought would look like at this point, right? One of the best players in the league, can be an absolute superstar on both ends of the floor. Yeah. Turner should be a free agent. Yep, Turner's gonna be a free agent. I just my biggest fear with him is that he's gonna be wanting like $25 million. And because of a player of his caliber starting, leading the league in blocks in I think 1 season or 2, he can definitely demand some money. So that'd be my biggest concern with Turner. I would not pay him $25 million just to be here. That doesn't make much sense in my opinion. Nerlens Noel, if the team decides to, decline his option, I wouldn't mind that either. It just, I think he's also just pretty limited. So if I was choosing between Jakob Poeltl and Nerlens Noel, it'd be Jakob Poeltl in my opinion. I think Poeltl has a little bit more offensive potential, but we'll see. we'll see what the Bulls do here because Vooch is nowhere close to being re-signed. By the way, like that's been confirmed. Is that the Bulls and Vucevic have not had contract extension talks. So that's the reason why I'm like I am expecting Vucevic to get traded because he's not coming back in my opinion. You don't think Miles Turner's getting $25 million? I think Miles Turner's getting $25 million. That's my biggest fear. What about John Collins? I'm not a fan. I think John Collins has to play power forward. And this season for John Collins has been a little bit of a rough go for him. Also, his contract's not ideal. But, I mean, we're talking about 12 points, 7 rebounds. His 3-point percentage has just drastically taken a hit. For how much money that we'd be giving him, because he signed a pretty big contract for someone like him. I personally would not like it. Also, I just don't think he can play center. I think that he's mostly a power forward that can kind of go small, maybe like for a small ball center. But like, yeah, I'm not. I would not go after John Collins personally. Let's see here. That's that. So he's making 23, 25, 26, 26. Yikes. Hopefully we won't find out later that the Bulls extended Vucevic in the offseason. I think we would know that by now. I hope that's not the case, but I think if a player is extended, that gets notified very quickly because the media has like resources to see like all transaction logs when it comes to players, and that's something that has to go through that. So people would know if Vooch got extended. For Billy, I don't know why that wasn't notified to the public. That makes no sense to me. But I think coaches are a little bit different than players. All right. So then next off season, see here. So one person that is kind of enticing, he's kind of getting up there in age. I like Will Barton a lot. I think he can kind of come in. Let's see what kind of season he's having. I have not paid attention to the Washington Wizards at all this season. I'll say that. I've paid very little attention. He's not having that great of a year, so maybe scrap this idea. He's taking a dramatic drop off. He's had a dramatic drop off this season. That's a little concerning for him. Sorry. All right, forget that. Yeah, it would be good if the Heat were willing to trade him. Also, don't think we have the assets for getting Bam. Oh, for sure. I don't think they're. Yeah. The Bulls are not getting Bam. And here's the thing: like Miami, like let's say Miami even hits the reset button for that team, they're not gonna trade Bam. Like if anything, they're trading like Kyle Lowry's probably gonna get moved. Maybe Jimmy, but like I think Miami, they're just like, no, we're rolling with we're keeping Bam for the future and Tyler Hero. Yeah, and Miami is another one of those teams, right? That they never hit that tank button. By the way, like this is the reason why I'm like, we do not tank. Okay, they never hit that tank button, even after LeBron left, and then after D Wade and Chris Bosh had to eventually leave, whether they retired or went to a different team, they never hit the tank button. So like this is the reason why I'm like, the Bulls can't tank. If they want to develop their young guys, sure, but no full out tank. They're not. Don't do that. You can get creative in how you can get players here. Hence what we saw in not last offseason, but the offseason prior. Don't know how they did it with Billy, but I would love to find out. I would love to find out too. I just like I feel like with coaches though, it's a little bit more secretive with what happens. Like even with Jim Boylan, I don't even know if we figured out like how much money he was getting when he signed his extension. So yeah, I'm not sure how that worked out. It's also a Reinsdorf. It's a Reinsdorf, thing where they like will re-sign coaches or they'll re-sign managers and not notify the public, and all of a sudden they're just here again. One notably, like Robin Ventura for the White Sox is kind of like in that position where he's kind of forced back to manage the White Sox again. So it's a Reinsdorf classic, and that's the reason why I want Reinsdorf out of here as soon as possible, because I am not a fan of him at all. Man, there's nothing we can really get that would get us over the hump. Really weird situation. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to get us over the hump this season. Like, I'm this season, man. Again, I want the Bulls to make the playoffs, but I did not expect this Bulls team to go any farther than just making the playoffs. Okay, and I did not expect them to make any sort of moves that would get them over the hump at all this season. But what I can see them doing is reloading on assets and then looking to make a move that gets them over the hump in either 2023 or 2024. Whether that's through money or trades, whatever. That's what I'm looking at for this Bulls team. And again, you don't have to tank to get those guys. You can be creative. You can trade. You can do it through trades, sign in trades. You can sign these guys. That's the reason why I'm like, this Bulls team should not be tanking. Don't tank this season. Look to win. And if you trade DeRozan and you trade Vucevic, you're gonna get worse in terms of record, just due to lack of talent. But I want you still look to win. Maybe you only make the play-in tournament if that's the case. Maybe not. Maybe you don't even make the play-in tournament. But like you can't look to tank. And I think we're getting to the point, guys, where it's like I don't think that the Bulls can even hit the tank button at this point. It's too late now. But the Bulls have always found the most success through the draft. Sure. But, again, can we rely on that? I've always said that, like, the reason why I'm saying don't tank is because you can draft talent anywhere in the draft. I don't care where you draft them. You can find talent. So yes, I am all for drafting players. I think you should be drafting every single season, whether that's through the first or second round. I don't care. Just you should probably be doing a draft pick every single year, which the Bulls should be getting a draft pick this season. We'll see about Portland, but yeah, like draft people and you'll find success through the draft, but it doesn't have to be the top talent in the draft. It doesn't have to be the top pick. Like the draft order is high risk, high reward. Sure. I feel like the draft route, in my opinion, is extremely high risk, and the high reward, yes, it's there, but there is a bigger chance of you being like never hitting that high reward than actually hitting. Like you're the possibility of hitting that high reward is just, oh boy, like it's rough. There has to be a lot of things that go your way to hit that high reward, because every single team that sucks doesn't get the first overall pick. Why is Reinsdorf so cheap for a major market? I think Reinsdorf is stuck in the past. And he looks at numbers and is like, oh boy, that's a lot of money, when it's like, bro, what the hell? You're literally getting paid like $20 million from the Golden State Warriors every single season, so shut up. And it bothers me that's the case, but because it's a major market, the Reinsdorfs have always had this way of the team is one step away from being a championship contender, and they never do it, but they still get the money. At the end of the day, they only care about money. They do not care about the team itself. They just have to make sure that the team is at least okay, because that sells tickets for a major market. So they've taken advantage of the major market in the wrong way that an owner should. That's kind of the reason why I'm hoping whenever Jerry ends up passing, Michael Reinsdorf changes that. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but who knows? Don't want to sound dark, but what happens when he passes? He's like 88. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound dark either, but again, like I just said, I hope that Michael Reinsdorf, when his son, when he takes over, is not going to be the stupid Jerry Reinsdorf way of doing things. So, I don't know, man. I would hope that, here's my biggest hope, is that when Jerry passes, and rest in peace to him when that happens, I hope that the Reinsdorfs look to sell the team. Because I would hope that Michael Reinsdorf and the other people are like, we only had this because of Jerry, but we want to move on. I would hope that's the case. Something a family cares enough about basketball. Oh, I totally agree. They don't give an absolute flying F about basketball. They care about money. And it's always funny to me when I see, like, hey, all these Bulls fans, like, let's make a GoFundMe. And, like, the funny thing is that, like, let's say, for example, like, a guy, Chance the Rapper, decides, like, hey, I want to buy the Bulls, and I can go and buy out the Reinsdorfs or whatever the price is, right? Which not possible, by the way. The thing is like, not only would you have to buy the team, but then you have to hire all these guys to run the team, right? So it's more expensive than we think. I know the Bulls fans GoFundMe is just a joke, but like, I don't think people understand like how much money is involved with this sort of stuff. And it takes a lot to run a basketball organization. The Reinsdorfs, they just go the cheap route, and because they have all the money in the world, they have a power. So. I would hope that when Jerry passes, that the Reinsdorfs look to sell the team. I at least that's just my hope, because hopefully at that point the family is sick of having people report to them about team moves and stuff like that. So that's just my hope. I'm hoping that's the case. If it's not, okay. We move forward from there. By the way, here's the part where so when teams pay the luxury tax, by the way, see here. So, all this money that the Golden State Warriors are going to be paying the league this season, like, we're looking at this ridiculously high tax bill for the Golden State Warriors. Okay, now, anytime a team's in the luxury tax, they pay. All the money that goes to the league, it gets then redistributed to the other teams that do not pay the luxury tax. Okay? The other teams then make it. It's the reason why it's so annoying to see that the Bulls don't go into the luxury tax. Now, again, this season I was fine with not going to the luxury tax because, again, we don't know about Lonzo Ball's health. And without Lonzo Ball, why would you go all in on a season when you don't have one of your best supporting players around? Okay? But in previous seasons, when it came to the Reinsdorfs, it was extremely annoying to see them not go into the tax, because, and this is the reason why I think that they didn't, was because they knew that they're going to get a check from the rest of from the NBA because other teams were paying the tax. These low market teams and even some high market teams, all they care about is not hitting that tax line, because at the end of the day, they're going to get a big check from the NBA when the season ends, because they were in the tax, but the other teams were. This idea is supposed to help, create, parity in the league, right? But it doesn't, right? You got the Golden State Warriors here, with their owners and Joe Lacob and crew. They're like, hey, we're willing to pay as much money to win. And you got other teams with owners that absolutely are garbage, and they're like, I'm just happy collecting the check at the end of the day because other teams are willing to pay the tax. It's stupid, it's annoying, but that's how it is in today's world. Let's see here. Who would buy the Bulls? I don't know. But I will say this, if the Bulls ever come up for sale, there's going to be so many people looking to buy the Bulls. They're extremely, extremely, what's the word? Valuable asset. In Chicago, there's a lot of businessmen that would be interested. Also, they get paid a lot. Oh, yeah. Chicago, like, here's the thing. I don't even think it's just Chicago, by the way. Like, if the Bulls ever became available for sale, I think anybody, like, it doesn't matter if they're from Chicago or not. They're stationed in Chicago. There's going to be people everywhere looking to buy the Bulls. Like, that's going to be an extremely valuable asset for anybody if they're able to actually get the Bulls. So I don't know who that is. Kind of reason why I'm just like, I'm not going to name only Chicago people. I know someone brought up Kanye West the other day. Was it Unstoppable? Was that you? But I'm not. Like, I would hope that's not the case. I don't want Kanye running this organization. But yeah, it's gonna have to be like very, very wealthy people, because the Bulls franchise is valued very highly. I mean, look at this. This is 2021, by the way. So Steve Ballmer paid $2 billion for the Clippers. Okay, that's a team that is like the second team in LA. Obviously, big market. That's the second team in LA. This is the team in Chicago, right? Mayweather's offered $2 billion for an NBA team. Yeah, but $2 billion I think is like for one of like mid-market teams. We're not that $2 billion is not getting any of the New York teams, right? According to Forbes, Bulls are number 4 in terms of value. Yeah, they're pretty high up there, man. Yeah, so Steve Ballmer paid $2 billion for a Clippers team that is number 2 in LA. This is the basketball team in Chicago. There's only one. Like, at bare minimum, we're looking in my opinion, we're looking at least $3.75 billion. It could be higher than that, and that's the reason why I'm like, any businessman in the world would be interested in the Bulls if they become available. So yeah, Jerry, was it Cucklord that said it? Yeah, Jerry's old. He's getting up there in age. He's definitely on the wrong side of 80 right now. But I don't know when he's gonna pass, but it's definitely coming around. It's gonna happen soon. Maybe the rising stars are looking at the Bulls, are like, hey, we can get money for this now. And it's a significant amount of money. MJ carrying the Bulls even after him retiring, owning another team. Yep, it's dumb. The Risers are still going off Jordan's legacy. It's honestly insane how the Risers are still going off the Jordan legacy. Now, here's the thing. I will say that I think Derek being here helped this franchise as well. The Bulls were kind of definitely sliding into no man's land before they luckily they won the lottery, and they got Derek. But yeah, they're kind of Derek coming here, rejuvenating the franchise, and no, Ryan Zerfs, they're definitely they're happy about that. Jerry bought the Bulls for like $10 million. Yep. Obviously, inflation, like GDP inflation, is a part of that. But This shows you, like, basketball right now is one of the biggest things in the world. Like, we're talking, like, globally, it is one of the biggest things. It is huge around the world. I mean, how many times have you seen Bulls fans in different cities than Chicago, you know, across the country? We see Bulls fans everywhere, right? Basketball is huge, especially now that the streaming services are so high. You can access basketball anywhere. You get to see basketball for free on YouTube and the highlights, etc. We got NBA players. They're on social media, right? They have, like, that raises the basketball, the NBA value, or a team's value, right? When the Bulls played Denver last year, it sounded like the United Center. Yeah, I mean, there's Bulls fans everywhere, man. Like, I would say that is it still Pepsi Center in Denver? Like, that arena was, like, in my opinion, it was half and half Bulls and Nuggets fans. Like, if anything, maybe there were even more Bulls fans there, because it looked completely different than what you know, a normal Nuggets home game would look like. What's it called? Oh, it's Ball Arena now. Okay. They're still expanding? Yeah, the NBA is still expanding too. I apologize about the barks. Hold on. Yep. Alright, I am back. Yeah, and, like, I don't know what the NBA is they're looking at, but, like, there's been some serious talks about where when the NBA expands, like, it's not going to even be in the U.S. It's going to be like Mexico, where they're going to have a team, right? Obviously, Las Vegas is, you know, kind of like what people kind of want. Seattle definitely deserves a team there again. But yeah, I mean, the NBA the association is just it's loaded with money right now. The new TV deals are going to be ridiculous again. Like I even saw something that's like Amazon and like Apple, they're going to be competing for like NBA games for broadcasting rights for them, and it's like we're talking like 10 games a season for those two companies, and it's like they're paying like $4 billion just to get 10 games. It's like, what? Like, it is nuts right now with the amount of money. So if the Bulls become available, you're gonna see everybody, it doesn't matter who it is, they're gonna try to get in on it. I'm gonna pull up one more thing. I think it's gonna be like a little fun thing to do for stream, and then I'm gonna call it. Some people just came back home for me, so want to go talk to them. But I want to pull up. Let's see here. To pull up the tactical board here for basketball. I want to show you a couple of things that I've been kind of putting into my head. that I think could help this Bulls team with their offense. Okay. The last time we did this, that we were kind of talking about, when Vooch gets a mismatch, how do the Bulls give the ball to him, and then how did they spread the floor or create the correct spacing. So that was the last time we used this, but I want to do something a little bit different this time and talk about a play that I think the Bulls need to start putting into their offensive game plan on a nightly basis. It should be an absolute staple. We saw Zach get one of these opportunities tonight, but I need to see more. Because I think this was going to help Zach tremendously be more confident in deciding to just drive right to the rim, but it's going to also help him get open three-point looks for catch-and-shoot opportunities. So one thing I wanted to talk about is the floppy action that we've seen. We've seen it in Chicago before when Rip Hamilton was here, Mike Dunleavy was here, Kyle Korver was here, right? We've seen this action a lot, okay? Where we have we're gonna have a lot of guys setting a bunch of down screens or pin downs for a player. So let's just take this for example right here. This is Zach here. He's the two guards. So just take starting lineup that the Bulls are running out there. So Zach, DeRozan, Vucevic, fill in the other guys, whoever you want. But floppy action, it's very simple, okay? So here's Vucevic. You come up here, you set a screen here, and you'll see the other guys. They're gonna come on. They're gonna basically come on down here, and they're gonna be setting screens, off-ball screens for Zach to just come off and run. Okay, so Zach's gonna basically come off of these screens, and then he can either go back towards where Vucevic is, okay, or he comes off the double pin down here, whoever these two guys are. Okay, so just to kind of run it just be, all right, here's the setup. Zach's gonna take his man and come down here. Then he gets to kind of decide where he wants to go. You come up here. Hopefully this creates some separation, right? You throw the ball to Zach over here. Spread out the floor as this is happening. Obviously, notably, you'll like spread out like this. And hopefully there's some separation here, and Zach's able to either shoot this ball or he can just take it and just go right into the lane and put it up for a layup. That's something I think is very simple that the Bulls can just put in their offense. We saw this play once today, but it didn't. I don't know if it resulted in anything. But another option is just something pretty simple where the Bulls kind of already start out this way on offense, right? Where you start 5 out, and you have everybody just spraying the floor at the three-point line. Because if, let's say, this person right here tries to go for a steal, whoever's running the point can just go right in for a layup, okay? You spread the floor as much as possible at the beginning of the possession in case you could just call off the play and go right to the rim. But to do something that's not even like a set play, right? Where you have just a simple little action that's not even like a set play, just to run as fast as possible to get Zach the ball quickly. If we start out where we just started out, what I would like to see is, this is Patrick Williams, for example. He comes up here, he sets a screen on ball. When this is happening, though, I want to see Vooch and Zach. I want to see Vooch basically set either a pin down or down screen, cross screen, whatever you want to call it, and have Zach run off of this and come on over on this side of the floor. So whoever's at point guard, you go this way. You have Vooch set this pin down, have Zach come up over here. What this does is that when the pick and roll happens, okay, when this pick and roll is happening, Zach occupies his defender, okay? So he's going to come off of this here. As this action's happening over here, it occupies also the big man in this play, whoever's guarding Vucevic in this case. He has to either decide, does he help out on Zach when he comes off the screen, or does he have to stick with Vucevic? Because if both go to Zach, right, Vucevic is open for an easy layup. So you come off of this here, have Zach come up here. Again, you're taking all these guys out of the equation. So the help defense, the only place where you can get help is from right here. So this play, you run it. However they cover this, right? Hopefully it opens up an open lane. If not, if they just straight up decide, hey, we're gonna collapse the paint, we're gonna make sure that, let's say they switch this, right? We're gonna make sure that we don't give up an easy layup. Well, Zach's coming up here, this ball goes over here. Okay, it's something simple like this where I'm like, this can help this Bulls team a lot. Just to get Zach LaVine on the move, getting him off ball a little bit more, and creating a little bit more opportunities to get the ball to him, whether he can just catch it immediately and shoot it, but also catch it and have a live dribble, and so he's not always bringing it up onto the from the back court and having to run the offense from there. I will say that I think Zach LaVine's his handles have significantly improved. We're not really seeing him turn the ball over when he's driving to the lane or when he's trying to set up a guy, right? We haven't really seen that this season. The only time we see him actually turn the ball over is if he's called for a travel, or we're seeing him try to pass the ball to somebody and it doesn't get to where we need to get the ball to, right? But LaVine's, like, his turnovers, they're down, right? It's not like a significant decrease, but I'm watching him and I'm like, I'm not seeing those, like, little silly turnovers that we're used to seeing with Zach. He's averaging 2.2 turnovers per game this season. The assists are kind of exactly where I expect it to be. The biggest thing, though, when I look at this, right, is you look at the totals, right? That's 78 assists to 39 turnovers. If you take this number, okay, and compare it to other all-stars in the league, I always try to compare it to, like, Jaylen Brown, for example. Jaylen Brown, he averages less assists. Okay, he's obviously averaging more points to start the season. He's been having a great season shooting wise, but you look at the totals in terms of turnovers and assists. We're looking at 74 assists and 71 turnovers. Okay, that's horrible, right? That's basically a 1-to-1 ratio of assist to turnover. That's awful, right? We don't want to see that, and we've seen that from Zach before, right? We've seen Zach kind of have like something similar where 282 assists, 203 turnovers, right? That's not what we want. Last season, I thought was actually pretty solid for him, but we still saw some little bit of, like, loose with the basketball. With 303 assists to 171 turnovers, tonight it was 2 for 2. He had 2 turnovers and 2 assists, but he had the ball in his hands for an extreme portion of the game. And the fact that he only turned it over 2 times, and I think one of it was traveling. Yeah, I mean, you take that, right? Bulls so far, turnover-wise this season, have been like top 10 in, like, turnover percentage, so they don't turn the ball over. So it was weird to see in that second quarter tonight that the Bulls had 11 turnovers in that second quarter, and they ended up having 16 for the game. We're used to the Bulls only having like 13 for the game, maybe even lower than that. So it's something just to keep your eye on, and hopefully that continues to be good, because I think this Bulls team has a lot of good ball handlers on their team. You can't have turnovers and feed the opposing team points. That is just free transition points for the opposing team. Don't turn the ball over. If you're going to turn it over, make it a dead ball turnover somehow. Whether it's throwing it out of bounds or you travel, right? Do that, so they don't get a fast break opportunity. Obviously, you can't control that, but that would be ideal, is if you turn it over and it's a dead ball and not a live ball, and the opposing team is off and running. So just something that we need to continue to look at, and hopefully this stays consistent for the rest of the season, which is good job of taking care of the basketball. A little shocking, it was sloppy tonight, most notably only the second quarter, right? 5 turnovers for the rest of the 3 quarters. Very solid. So I'm hoping that the Bulls just take care of the basketball, and they're not feeding the opposing team transition opportunities, because that's going to not help this team moving forward. Bulls take on the Washington Wizards next on Wednesday, I believe. This is going to be my, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to be doing post-game stream on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I am not going to be available. So the 10th is, I believe it's the 10th, right? Is a Saturday. I will not be available on Saturday, so no stream on Saturday when the Bulls take on the Dallas Mavericks. But Bulls are going to be at home playing the Washington Wizards on December 7th. Hopefully the Bulls can get a win against this team, because this is definitely one of those teams where like the Bulls are better. They should win. Obviously the Bulls lost to them in Washington in the second game of the season early on. DeRozan missed a game winner. Very close game though. Hopefully the Bulls can take advantage of this team at home. But expect the stream on Wednesday, no stream on Saturday. Okay, guys? So yeah. But Bulls lost to Sacramento Kings tonight, 101 to 110. Not happy with this one. But good news is that Zach LaVine looks better. And that this team is, still struggling on offense, but at least Zach looked all right. Kind of hard to take some positives away from this one, because this one, I thought the Bulls should have for sure won. So it's a little upsetting to see that they didn't win this one. But that's good for me, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging around on a Sunday night. I know it's always a little bit stressful for people. Appreciate you guys coming back out. Glad to see the regulars in here again. But if you have not already, hit the like button on the stream. If you're new to the channel and like Bulls content, hit that subscribe button. Making Bulls content all season. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace. See y'all.